When dangerous animals don't know what glass is. Glass is one of the most fascinating materials ever created by humans. It is transparent yet solid, strong yet fragile, and has shaped the modern world in ways we often take for granted. While humans understand its properties well, animals, especially wild and dangerous ones, have no concept of what glass is. This leads to some astonishing, and sometimes terrifying, encounters when dangerous animals unknowingly come face to face with a barrier they don't understand. From lions pouncing at zoo visitors to bears smashing windows in search of food, these interactions highlight the clash between the natural instincts of wildlife and human innovations. The idea of glass being invisible to animals creates scenarios that range from amusing to life-threatening. In zoos, for instance, thick glass barriers separate visitors from apex predators like lions, tigers, and bears. These animals, relying on their instincts, often mistake reflections for open space or a clear path to prey. Visitors have captured countless moments where a lion suddenly lunges at a child, a tiger swipes at a person standing inches away, or a gorilla charges in an intimidating display only to be stopped abruptly by an unyielding glass barrier. While these encounters can be shocking to witness, they also remind us of the power and unpredictability of these wild creatures. For predators like big cats, the inability to perceive glass as a solid object leads to particularly dramatic moments. In the wild, a lion's primary method of hunting involves stalking prey and launching a rapid, powerful attack. When placed in a zoo enclosure with a glass wall, their natural instincts remain unchanged. A child or an adult moving quickly on the other side of the glass might trigger their predatory response, leading them to pounce at full speed. The result is both startling and fascinating, an animal built for the hunt colliding head-on with an invisible force it never expected. Many zoos have installed special non-reflective coatings to help reduce these incidents, but the issue persists as long as animals remain unaware of the existence of glass. Bears are another species that frequently encounter glass with surprising results. In the wild, bears use their strength to break into food sources, whether it be tearing apart a log to find insects or smashing through ice to catch fish. When these powerful animals come across a glass window, especially in places where humans and wildlife coexist, such as national parks or remote cabins, they often treat it like any other obstacle. Videos of bears pressing their noses against windows, swiping at the surface, or even attempting to break through are common. In some cases, large bears have successfully shattered windows, not realizing that what seemed like an open space was actually a human-made barrier. This creates dangerous situations where both the animal and humans are at risk. One particularly famous incident involved a polar bear in a wildlife sanctuary pressing against a thick glass window as a visitor stood inches away on the other side. The bear, confused but persistent, repeatedly tried to push through, eventually using its massive paws to swipe aggressively. The visitor, although safe, experienced an up-close encounter with one of nature's most powerful predators. Similarly, grizzly bears in places like Yellowstone have been seen investigating glass doors and car windows, sometimes managing to break them if the glass isn't strong enough. These incidents serve as reminders that even the toughest barriers can fail when tested by nature's strongest creatures. Gorillas and other primates add another layer of complexity to the interaction between animals and glass. Unlike lions or bears, gorillas have a level of intelligence that makes their reactions even more intriguing. There have been instances where gorillas, after multiple encounters with glass, start to understand that it is a solid object. Some have been seen tapping the glass in frustration after attempting to charge at a perceived intruder. Others have learned to use the reflections in the glass to observe their surroundings. However, younger gorillas and those who have never encountered glass before still react with shock and aggression when they first try to interact with something they cannot see. Crocodiles and alligators, with their powerful jaws and prehistoric instincts, have also provided remarkable encounters with glass. In aquariums and wildlife parks, these reptiles sometimes attempt to bite through the transparent barriers, mistaking reflections for potential prey or rivals. Unlike mammals, which often learn from repeated experiences, reptiles rely on simple instinctual responses. This means that an alligator that sees movement behind a glass panel will react the same way every time, by attempting to attack. While reinforced glass is usually strong enough to withstand even the most forceful bites, there have been instances where improperly installed glass has cracked under the immense pressure of a crocodile's jaws. Sharks, too, have had their fair share of run-ins with glass in aquariums. In the open ocean, a shark relies on its keen senses to detect movement and electrical signals in the water. However, when placed in an artificial environment with glass walls, these instincts can sometimes fail them. Sharks have been observed swimming headfirst into the sides of their tanks, unable to comprehend why they cannot pass through what appears to be open water. While many aquariums now use curved glass to minimize these incidents, occasional collisions still occur, reminding us that even the most fearsome ocean predators are vulnerable to the illusion created by transparent barriers. Beyond zoos and aquariums, the interaction between dangerous animals and glass has real-world consequences. In urban areas where wildlife and human habitats overlap, glass windows often become points of conflict. Large cats like leopards and mountain lions have been known to stalk their reflections in glass doors, sometimes attacking the perceived rival in their territory. In some cases, these big cats have accidentally leaped through weak glass panels, ending up inside homes or businesses, causing panic and requiring professional wildlife intervention. In regions with high populations of wild elephants, glass has proven to be both a barrier and a problem. Elephants, known for their intelligence and curiosity, sometimes test glass surfaces with their trunks. While they may recognize solid objects better than many other animals, they still do not fully understand its nature. There have been cases where elephants have attempted to push through glass doors, thinking they were open pathways. Given their immense strength, they can easily shatter most glass, leading to property damage and, in some cases, injuries to both the animals and people nearby. Even birds, although not traditionally classified as dangerous, suffer from an extreme version of this phenomenon. Birds frequently collide with glass windows, unable to perceive them as solid barriers. While these collisions are usually fatal for smaller birds, larger species like eagles, hawks, and vultures can break through glass, sometimes entering buildings and causing chaos. This issue has led to the development of special window coatings and decals designed to help birds recognize glass as a solid surface. The problem of animals not recognizing glass isn't just an amusing quirk of nature, it has significant implications for both wildlife conservation and human safety. Zoos and wildlife parks must design enclosures that minimize stress for animals while ensuring safety for visitors. Homeowners in wildlife-prone areas must reinforce glass structures to prevent unwanted animal encounters. Architects and urban planners are now considering animal-friendly glass designs to reduce collisions and conflicts with wildlife. As technology continues to advance, new materials may one day replace glass, offering both transparency and better visibility for animals. Until then, however, encounters between dangerous animals and glass will continue to be a source of fascination, fear, and wonder. Whether it's a lion pouncing at an invisible barrier, a bear testing the limits of a window, or a shark colliding with an aquarium wall, these moments serve as powerful reminders that while humans have shaped the world to fit their needs, nature still operates on its own terms. In the end, the invisible force of glass remains one of the most unexpected and bewildering obstacles for some of the world's most dangerous creatures. Glass, as a material, has an almost supernatural quality for animals that have never encountered it before. For humans, it is an everyday part of life. We know its limitations, its strength, and its weaknesses. But for wild animals, glass is a deceptive and confusing obstacle. Their inability to perceive it as a solid surface leads to bizarre, sometimes dangerous encounters that highlight the sheer difference between human engineering and nature's instincts. From the densest jungles to the most urbanized areas, the interaction between dangerous animals and glass continues to unfold in both expected and unpredictable ways. One of the most unsettling aspects of this phenomenon is how it affects predatory animals that rely on their speed, strength, and reflexes. Consider a jaguar in a zoo enclosure. In the wild, a jaguar's primary mode of attack is an ambush, a silent, calculated stalk followed by a lightning-fast pounce. In a zoo, the presence of a glass barrier does nothing to change this instinct. If a visitor moves too quickly or stands too close, a jaguar may interpret this as an opportunity for an attack, resulting in a full-force collision with the transparent wall. The same applies to cheetahs, leopards, and even wolves, which rely on movement and body language to determine their next move. For them, glass is a frustrating and incomprehensible boundary that stops them mid-hunt. This problem is not limited to animals in captivity. In residential areas that border wildlife habitats, large predators sometimes encounter glass in ways that put both them and humans at risk. Imagine a mountain lion roaming through a suburban neighborhood at night. Seeing a reflection of itself in a glass door, it may perceive the image as a rival and attempt to attack. There have been numerous cases where big cats, confused and agitated by reflections, have lunged at windows, breaking through into homes and causing panic. Although such incidents are rare, they serve as stark reminders that human-made barriers do not always function the way we expect them to when it comes to wildlife. The confusion surrounding glass is not exclusive to land animals. Marine predators, such as killer whales, have also shown interesting reactions to glass in aquariums. At marine parks, orcas sometimes display curiosity toward visitors behind the thick acrylic walls of their enclosures. Unlike tigers or bears, orcas seem to recognize the barrier after some interaction, even pressing their faces against the glass to observe people on the other side. However, there have been cases where aggressive or frustrated orcas have rammed into the glass, either in play or out of agitation. Although aquarium glass is designed to withstand immense pressure, the sheer force of a determined orca is enough to raise concerns about enclosure safety. In other situations, smaller but equally aggressive animals have displayed frustration and confusion with glass. Venomous snakes, for example, have been seen striking at their reflections, unaware that their target is unreachable. In reptile exhibits, cobras and rattlesnakes often react aggressively when they see movement beyond the glass, mistaking it for a threat. Since snakes rely heavily on heat detection and movement to locate prey, glass disrupts their perception, leading to repeated and futile attacks. Some reptile experts believe that certain species eventually learn not to strike at the barrier, but for many, the instinct to attack remains too strong to override. The psychological effects of glass on dangerous animals also raise questions about their well-being in captivity. Some studies suggest that animals kept in enclosures with glass barriers experience heightened stress levels due to their inability to understand their limits. Predators like lions and tigers, accustomed to vast open territories, may feel trapped when they repeatedly collide with an invisible wall. This can lead to agitation, repetitive behaviors, and, in some cases, aggression. Zookeepers and animal behaviorists have explored different ways to reduce stress, such as adding visual markers, plants, or barriers that break up reflections to make the presence of glass more apparent to the animals. Another critical issue arises in regions where deforestation and habitat destruction push wildlife closer to urban environments. As animals adapt to living near humans, the number of glass-related incidents is increasing. In certain parts of the world, monkeys and baboons have become notorious for entering homes through open windows or testing glass doors to gain access to food. These intelligent primates sometimes figure out that glass is a barrier, while others repeatedly attempt to break through it. This behavior has led to unexpected confrontations, where people wake up to find a troop of baboons trying to pry open their windows. Furthermore, the expansion of cities into natural habitats has led to an increase in accidental collisions between animals and glass. Deer, moose, and even wild boars occasionally charge at glass storefronts, mistaking reflections for open spaces. Unlike predators that attempt to attack perceived prey, these herbivores simply fail to recognize the barrier, resulting in injuries and property damage. Some buildings now use bird-safe glass, which includes patterns that help birds recognize the surface, and similar solutions are being considered for larger animals. Ultimately, the ongoing conflict between dangerous animals and glass highlights a fundamental disconnect between human innovation and animal instincts. While glass is one of the most useful materials in modern society, it remains an enigma to wildlife. As long as glass exists in environments where animals roam, there will always be unexpected, and sometimes dangerous, encounters. Whether it's a lion pouncing at an invisible wall, a bear testing its strength against a window, or a shark colliding with an aquarium panel, these moments serve as a stark reminder that nature operates on instincts that human creations cannot easily override. Moving forward, conservationists, architects, and wildlife experts must consider ways to minimize these interactions for the safety of both animals and humans. Whether through improved glass technology, better enclosure designs, or increased awareness in areas where wildlife and urban life intersect, understanding how animals perceive, or fail to perceive, glass is crucial. Until then, we can only marvel at the countless instances where the world's most powerful creatures come face to face with an invisible, unbreakable mystery.